Warning: this video review involves an anime series that involves fan service. Fan service is a process which involves anything of a sexual nature, including panty shots, breasts, and occasional brief nudity. If you're either a feminazi, an overprotective mother, a member of the Winger Dingers, a brony, or a John Cena fan, please, viewer discretion is advised. Thank you. Hey YouTubers, Hankster here, and welcome to my very first anime series review. And of course, being that this is October and Halloween month, I decided to make my first review involving a series involving monsters and all. It is, of course, Rosario plus Vampire. Pretty much it's your typical harem anime. If you don't know what a harem anime is, it's basically one guy being sought after romantically by multiple girls, usually not through any fault of his own. He's not like some sort of gigolo or pervert or anything. Just winds up having multiple girlfriends. But the difference to this and many other harem animes is, of course, this takes place on the campus of a high school, which is run and attended by monsters, with the lead character being the only human that goes there, even though everybody else there doesn't know that he's a full-fledged human, except for the female lead. Pretty much he has to not just contend with keeping his identity a secret, he also has to ward off the advances of most of the other girls, as well as jealous suitors, crazed fans, psychotic teachers, and even megalomaniac student government bodies. Basically, this particular first video, we're going to be focusing on the first season. In the next video, we're going to be moving on to Kappa 2, or the second season of the series. Pretty much, we're just going to check out briefly talk about each character, and a little bit into the plot line of the first season. And let's start off here with the lead character of the series, Tsukune. Now, Tsukune is, of course, the male lead of the series, and he's pretty much your typical 15-year-old boy, ready to move on to high school, but he's got one major problem. He failed his entrance exam. In Japan, of course, they have entrance exams to move on to high school, and he was pretty much facing an entire year without going to school and have to wait until he was able to retake the exams. But when his father bumps into a mysterious hooded figure, he happens to find a acceptance paper to get his son into a high school. This particular high school is known as the Yokai Academy. Everything looks all well and good, but when he arrives there, everything looks strange, including a strange scarecrow-looking thing with a pumpkin on it. The water's blood red, and top it all off, the student body and staff is all comprised of monsters. The Yokai Academy, of course, is a place where monsters go to learn how to coexist with humans. Pretty much the rules is they have to stay in their human form while on campus and not reveal their monster selves or tell anybody their monster selves as well. Now, of course, Tsukune's very first day involves him literally bumping into a beautiful young girl, who, of course, is Moka. Now, Moka is, of course, the lead female and, of course, the lead love interest of Tsukune. And, of course, her secret monster identity is, of course, a vampire. Now, of course, she is still a vampire in this form. The pink-haired, innocent young girl who basically just wants to make friends and help out whenever she can. But she does carry a very powerful secret. Now, if you see, she has a cross around her neck. Oddly enough, it's in this series they don't. Even though they do show some weaknesses of vampires, like of course with water and everything. Apparently, she can live under the sunlight. And of course, she doesn't have an obvious aversion to crosses. She, of course, wears a cross, but that is basically an enchanted cross. Of course, when it's removed from her necklace or rosary, basically the title of the series, she transforms from her innocent state into an older-looking and a formidable vampire fighter. Her hair changes white, and she gets bustier, taller, and pretty much is set to kick ass. She's of course pretty much the last resort, almost the last resort when it comes to dealing with other the bullies and obsessive suitors and everything in this series. And of course, unlike her more innocent self, this Moka is pretty much almost cold. She's just cold, aloof. And apparently doesn't really, unlike the good Moka or the innocent Moka, she of course doesn't really actually show any affection towards Tsukune. Even though it does, as the series progresses, she does start showing feelings for him. But we'll get into more about her in the second season, about her developing character outside of the innocent Moka. Now, of course, by episode 2, we of course run into the second female suitor or bride of Tsukune, and this is Kurumu. Now, Kurumu is a succubus who basically when she originally came into the scene, was trying to find her one true love, so that she won't wind up dying, and of course also trying to keep on the race of succubuses. She tries to be what you call a typical succubus, but of course she does have romantic feelings for Tsukune, especially after her encounter with the inner Moka. As she, of course, even when she was jilted by Tsukune at first, she, of course, wanted to kill both him and innocent Moka. But when Tsukune said at the end of the fight that, we can, let's be friends, he's got this way, it seems like he, wants to be friends with people he gets in fights with, and usually by the next episode, they are friends and they get along. Even though with most of the girls, it's some sort of goofy rivalry to win Tsukune's heart. Now, of course, being as she is a succubus, she of course has very obvious sexual features. Of course, she is the bustiest of the group, and also the most sexually driven. She got to use her sexual charms to try to win Tsukune over many times. Even though she does have abilities like a charm, where she can hypnotize anybody to do what she wants, and if she does wind up kissing Tsukune, he's enslaved to her. But if she does really care about him, she doesn't want to do it that way. Um, But she also, of course, when she's in her succubus form, she has bat-like wings, very long and sharp claws, which can slice through trees, and a very pronounced demon tail. Now, let's move on to the third bride of Tsukune, which, of course, we meet in episode 3, and that's Yukari. Yukari is, of course, the youngest member of the group. She's only 11 years old compared to the others, which are in the season 1 that are about 15 years old. She, of course, is an advanced student. She, of course, skipped a few grades, and the series, unlike most of the other girls who, of course, start off being interested in Tsukune, she, of course, didn't like Tsukune. She had affections towards Moka, but she, of course, had other problems, being that she was sort of obnoxious and spoiled and precocious. And also because she's a witch, she wasn't very popular with most of the other students. Being that, of course, that the students there consider witches sort of half-breed between humans and monsters, they, she's kind of like, it's sort of, it's in a sense a racial, racist type thing, if anything. But she, of course, being as she's also snotty and bratty and everything, doesn't really help her either. And it would be for Tsukune and the other girls to save her from a bunch of bullies to win her over. She, of course, not only just is smitten with Moka, but by the end of the episode, we, of course, see that Yukari falls for Tsukune, and of course for the rest of the series she, of course, tries to win Tsukune over. Now, being, of course, she's the youngest, she's not as developed, and she usually does get picked on by Kurumu, obviously, for being